this is to deal with no pain, no gain. For me, it was a disconnecting from my body. I could move and operate at high levels of pain for long periods of time. Just as long as it took. As long as it took, I could operate inside that environment. And that environment is necessary to hold in a combat environment, but not necessarily necessary to hold in a civilian environment. And even in a combat environment, there's time to armor down. There's time to settle. But anyway, coming into that present moment, taming the mind, and then going back through the body. So the way I reconnect to the body, because I was able to operate at these high levels of pain, the way I reconnect to the body is first at my ground. So it's everything that's touching something. Then my pelvis. Okay, and I'm actively kind of pinging the base of my spine to determine if it's comfortable for me. I can show you a little bit better here. So you can shift your pelvis in any way you want. Then core. So core is everything that takes place from about the base of the ribs, which is more like that, and the top of the pelvis. So everything in here, that's core. So you just check that out. Heart space, shoulder blades. Just move shoulder blades. Throat, head, and then your breathing. Tame the mind, train the mind. So you train the mind to recognize body sensation instead of disassociate from it. It's tricky. The practice of disassociating from sensational experience for me was just ingrained. I could just do it. And then when I started to actually recognize what was going on as opposed to just doing it, I started to actually feel where I was just stuck in these areas. Like tension was just like in these areas. And it had been so tense for so long and so steady that I didn't even notice it. I just recognized it as normal experience, normal part of my life. And so I wasn't even aware of it. And nor was I even aware that there was anything I could do about it. So it was just being kind of in this kind of stuff. And so now I have the opportunity to participate with my body, so tame the mind, train the mind. So that's a mindfulness practice that is at the center of everything Armor Down does. Tame the mind, train the mind is directly associated with hypervigilance, kind of a steady process of threat analysis, observation, planning, steady, twinged with threat, twinged with a hint of like shadow and doom and fear and nastiness, hypervigilance, waiting for the shoe to drop. Even if that's the most tactical position to take, finding time to come into present moment, notice light and shadow, sun, boom, there's a little bit of temperature here, warmth here. At the same time, my fingertips are cold, freezing. I can hold those two awarenesses in my mind at the same time, and to do that brings my mind into the present moment. There's no fucking around there. If you're really kind of tuned into all your observations and you can feel the difference between warmth here and cold here, you're dialed in. That's the present moment. So even if you've got a whole bunch of shit going on in your life, you can, boom, present moment. And the biology behind coming into the present moment is the parasympathetically leaning central nervous system. So you're doing this on multiple levels, one of them being the biological healing processes in your body get a boost, right? So you get to go in there and do that kind of stuff. And so you've brought your mind into presence and then go through the body. And that's grounds, that's everything. Touching something, you can do this at any time. Just check your ground. What's touching something? Then you go pelvis. Now, the reason you go place to place is multi-tiered. As you get more advanced in the practice, you'll understand this, but the basic tier is just sensation. What do you feel? And it's hard to talk about, even explain how you feel, because typically we just go into explain, I feel sensation in my pelvis. Well, what does that mean? Well, one way to talk about sensation, right, in the present moment, this keeps the conversation present, is to talk about sensation in terms of the language of lids. So that's sensation is location, intensity, direction, depth, and size. So if I feel sensation in my hips, or if I feel effort or feeling in my core, I can first describe it to someone or even recognize it to myself by its location, its intensity, its direction, how deep I feel it in my body, and then how big is it? It's just a way to participate. You're interacting with sensation. Now, this is to spend time in the parasympathetically leaning environment. Spending time in the parasympathetically leaning environment requires this participation and interaction with your body. But the beauty of this is you're not just doing this for nothing. You can apply this to anything you're doing and facilitate this biological kind of upwelling. When you're inside of presence and you're kind of softening into here now, and you're in an environment that is comfortable for you, this is what you like, this is what you're figuring out as you try to figure out how you yourself armor down. This is the kind of thing. What kind of stuff gets you going? What's cool? You know, what do you like? I mean, the other day I was talking to this kid who just, everywhere we go outside, the first thing he does is he grabs a stick and turns it into a rifle. Everywhere we go. And I don't talk about the military at all with any of my students. And this kid, that's just his thing. Just loves it. He just loves it. So he's everywhere he goes. He's popping up. And so the other day he went and I said, all right, now notice your ground. Notice everything touching something. And he starts kind of like paying attention to his feet. And I'm like, okay, what about your right elbow? And he notices his right elbow's against his right knee, and he's like, sits there, and I'm like, all right, now get long in your spine, Now line up your sides, So he lines up with his stick, and then he takes a full breath in, and I'm like, now imagine the bottom of your exhale is the trigger squeeze. So he's going through this. He's dialed in. I mean, he is totally engaged, and for him, that's what gets him like. He just gets really focused there. So he found this kind of total flow inside the moment. He popped out. But so how you armor down is what you like. You know, how you find that sense of dialed in, that sense of flow, that sense of I'm really into this. So you got to figure that out. You know, so our job is to kind of point things out.